I'm on the side of the road currently. This is the M50 donor car. I decided to pull it out of the woods because it was starting to sink, and I pulled it out and I was like, all right, let's get this thing started. Got it started, and I went my driveway to put air in the tires. I turn on the blower motor, and all you hear is the blower motor kick on and then seize, and you hear it hit mice. All the mice were in the blower. They all just started running out. I mean, just a bunch of mice ran out. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this thing for a ride, even though it's disgusting. I'm going for a ride. It starts smoking. The auto trans is so bad, it's just slipping. It is not good at all, guys. I'm literally here on the road because it started smoking so bad. I don't know if it was like a mouse that caught on fire, but I looked at it and I think it was just the, I sold the heater valve. I think it was just coolant, you know, heating up and just coming out of the heater hoses because there's no valve. So I think we're all right. But the only problem is this battery was extremely dead, and now that I'm on the side of the road, I don't think the car is going to start. So I'm going to try to start it right here for you guys and get it home, but I don't know if it will. Oh, it started right up. All right, well, no worries there. But yeah, I got to get this thing home because it's either going to blow up or I don't even know. But this is a little intro to me pulling the motor out of this car. I just wanted to get it kind of out of the woods and all the mice out of it because I knew there was mice in it before it's in my garage. So we'll see where this takes us. And she is in the garage. This is the last time this M50 will be running in the heart of an E34, soon to be ripped out, and this thing in the scrapyard. Good riddance. This is an absolutely disgusting monstrosity of a car. Mouse infested, if you guys didn't know. I think I touched on that in the little intro clip I shot a few days ago. If you guys aren't familiar, I have a video of me DIYing how to pull an M50 out of an E34. If you haven't watched that and you need a DIY, go check that out. I'll try to link it somewhere in this video. So I got that video, and I have the manual swap video on this, which features a lot of the how to separate the auto trans from the engine. That's my game plan with this car. I'm gonna leave the auto trans in the car. Most of the time I'll yank it with the motor. I don't even want to deal with the weight and the frustration of that stupid auto. It's completely blown. I have 4 auto drive shafts. I don't want the drive shaft. I don't want any of that crap. So I'm gonna do what I did with this. Do the go through the little hole in the back of the tranny and unbolt the what the hell is it called? The torque converter and all that, so that it all stays with the trans. And that way all I have to do is kind of yank the M50 out, which should be really easy. That auto trans probably weighs almost as much as the motor, but that's the game plan there. Mainly time-lapse stuff. I'm not going to go over how to do everything. When I pull the M20 out of the E30, I'll do a lot more in-depth because I've never done that. That's never been on my channel, so it'll be a learning experience for all of us, and that'll be a little more interesting. I don't mind filming, right? I like YouTube, but it makes it more frustrating when you're trying to grind something out. And the E30, it could sit in the garage as long as it wants. This thing, I don't want it in my garage, like, at all. Like, so I'm gonna be grinding this thing out to get this motor out and get the rest of this car stripped. If you guys didn't know, I use the car for parts, so I'm not just gonna be yanking the motor, I'm gonna be yanking off everything that's good on it. That's, you know, my little gig here. So if you guys are doing the M50 swap at an E30, obviously you could take the easy way out and not, you know, not buy a whole car and have to strip the motor out, but that's what I did. I think it's more cost effective that way, but who knows. And can we just appreciate one more time before we dig in how great the lighting is with these new LEDs? I am so happy. I can actually see into the engine bay of a car and not be totally blinded. This is amazing. This is gonna be my first time doing mechanical work, engine bay work with actual lights, so I am stoked. Just had to point that out one more time before we dig in. All right, so we got the carp in the air. Now it's time to start expelling the fluids. So I got most of the front end off. Now we're left with the core support. And every time I part an E34, I kind of go with a different route here. I used to save these and cut the AC lines. And then after a few times of having actually AC in the lines getting blasted, I kind of didn't want to do that anymore. So then I started just chopping them here, and just pulling them out. Although this is Calypso, and I have a Calypso that doesn't have a matching core support, and I don't think it's a bad idea to hold on to a Calypso core support. So I kind of want it, but I also don't know if there's AC in it, and I'm not dealing with AC. So what I'm just going to do is chop the core support here and here. And then I don't know if I'm going to take this cooler out or chop it on this side as well, so that the power steering cooler is not in the way. We'll see what I do there, but I'm gonna rip out all this front stuff. I just drained the coolant out, then I gotta drain the power steering. So the manifold is off, and I've been spending the last probably half hour labeling all the harness, because I'm going to pull out the harness now. There's really no way to actually like screw up the harness. Most connectors only reach to what they need to get to, and then like cam and crank are easy to confuse, but one's female, one's male, so you can't actually mix them up. Knock sensors can be mixed up. I don't think that matters, but I just want to label them anyway, label the stuff that just kind of wasn't fresh in my head, like which temp sensor is what, even though there is a color. Really, you don't have to. I wanted to do it anyway. So I got the main part of the harness out. Now I got to pull out the ECU side, pull out those two diagnostic plugs, undo this ground. Then we're going to pull out the harness, and I may call it there for the night. It's a little late. I'm pretty tired. I don't think I want to get underneath the car and start undoing all the trans stuff. So I'll probably leave that. I got everything else I wanted off the car. I got the fenders off the car. I got the side skirts off the car. So I'll probably nap. I'm in no rush. And then we'll get the trans off tomorrow and get the motor out. A lot of parts chilling back here, all the important stuff. I got the harness, manifold, MAF, the throttle cable that you need from the 525, and beauty covers, blah, blah, blah. Day 2, back out here. I don't know how old gas has to be and just how gross this car has to be. The smell in this garage, I had to air it out for like 2 hours this morning. Like, it is so like putrid, the smell. Like, it's the old fuel that I mentioned in the video of getting it running. I don't know if it's mixed with like mouse pee or what, because there's obviously mouse stuff all over the car, so the car reeks. But they're like, just the smell of the fuel that's in there, it doesn't smell like fuel. It is so disgusting of a smell. It just takes over the garage. Last night my lungs were like on fire. I do a lot of car work, a lot of like chemicals and stuff, but I've never like had like a feeling in my lungs of just like sheer like chest pain. I wish I could leave the door open, but it's just it's like 35 degrees out. I'm not working in that, so we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna try to hustle this thing out and get this freaking car out of my garage. We're picking up where we left off, so right now I'm gonna undo the trans bolts. I'm gonna try to get to as many from the top as I can, since I don't have that nice long extension that Zach gave me last time, and I don't feel like making a 3-foot extension snake. So I'm gonna try to get as much from the top as I can, and then I'll get down there and do the last couple bottom ones. I totally forgot about the exhaust. I'm gonna let that soak in PB for a little bit, for a little while, so that comes out easy, because I really don't want to snap a manifold stud. And yeah. All right, I got the exhaust off. I popped on a COVID mask because I didn't want any rust and stuff falling all over my face. I'm sick of breathing this stuff in, so I decided to just take some precautions. But it actually came out really easily. I hit all these with some screw loose before, and they all came out really easy. One of the studs actually came out of the manifold, so it didn't break. It just has to be rethreaded in, which has never happened before, which is interesting. But aside from that, the exhaust was wired up, so no hangers. And then the back, I just kind of cut one and then broke the other. So the one thing that I knew I didn't have that I'm gonna need is a O2 sensor. I could try and use this one, but likely it's not any good, and it should just be replaced new anyway. So now I have easier access to the bell housing bolts. I got the top couple. I just gotta do the bottom sides and then the bottom starter. And then the trans will be disconnected from the motor, and I forgot I have to do the torque converter. And we are ready to pull this motor out. Got all the transmission stuff done. I unhooked the power steering, undid the motor mounts, and I got the clutch fan off, which is usually basically the hardest part of like doing anything because I don't have the freaking tool and it's just a pain in the ass to get off. But I got that off, and now what I'm doing is I'm waiting and letting my big impact charge because I want to get this crank bolt out. And this thing is like 200 foot-pounds. No, it's actually more than that. But it's extremely seized. I've only had like one M50 I was able to actually get it out of. So I want to get this loose before I pull the motor because if your impact doesn't do it, there's something you could do with, I know with manual transmissions, you put it in a certain gear. Auto, I don't know. Maybe someone holds the brakes or something, but I don't know if the impact will do it, and I need this to come out because I need to do the front main, and I want to do the timing cover gaskets and stuff, and I want to clean everything. So I want all this stuff off the front, and that might restrict me. So I'm going to let the impact charge. Of course, the battery was dead, and then we'll see if I can hammer that off. But I'm going to go get the hoist, hook everything up, hook up my, my straps, and get ready to yank this bad boy. All right, it is time to get this M50 out of its home. I got everything hooked up, got the hoist, everything. I got my shoddy little strap here that's pulled like a good 10 motors and never failed me. It's on its way out. I need new, I need really a whole new system here. I think I'm gonna get a load leveler before I do the E30, just because since you can't take the core support off an E30, I gotta be more strategic with my angles, and this thing likes to kind of move. But we're ready. Where I think I'm gonna run into issues is getting the motor off of the trans, actually, because like I said, I've never pulled it like this. I've never pulled the motor separated from the trans. And you know, usually it's pretty stuck on there, and I'm guessing I'm gonna be yanking the motor and the trans is gonna be fighting me. But the trans is still bolted in, so it shouldn't move with it. So I'm guessing, or I'm hoping, that once the motor's off the mounts a fair amount, I can just kind of just jar it back. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to get some screwdrivers involved and kind of pry it off. We'll see. I'm gonna try to set you guys up so you can see everything. Unfortunately, with the door open, it obviously blocks the LED. I gotta say, I think that was the quickest I've ever gotten an M50 out of an E34. And let me say, keeping the trans in the car still bolted up was the move. Cause like, getting this thing out without a stupid big transmission, especially in auto. Manual is another story, that's not too bad. But that lug of a thing right there is so heavy and so large, when you're pulling the motor out, you're just getting all lopsided, right? And then the motor's just hanging down, and then the trans gets stuck on every piece of thing that is in the middle here. And without that, made this super, super easy. Although you'll notice when I was kind of on that side hammering, the starter was actually holding the trans on. I don't know what was getting caught necessarily, but I had to undo the starter and kind of knock the starter away, and then it came free. So something with the starter was holding it on, but as soon as I knocked that out of the way, it separated just like that. I didn't have to do much of prying. I didn't have to do any prying. Once the starter was out, I didn't have to do nothing. Yeah, here she is. old dusty crusty M50. So I gotta pull off the auto flywheel, and then I'm going to get this thing on the engine stand right here, and then get this monstrosity out of my garage, and then I'm done with it. I'm gonna pull like the power steering stuff, probably some random stuff, but when I get the trailer, I put it up on jack stands, pull the wheels, pull the suspension, and then I'll pull the steering box and stuff. I'm gonna leave all that intact now so I can actually turn it and move it out. But you know, this wasn't a great car, not a lot on it that I needed, but it did have what the E30 needed. So stay tuned. We're gonna refresh this whole motor. I'm gonna take it to the place, power wash it, maybe paint the black. I doubt it, but I might get really creative here. But yeah, so stay tuned. The next video will be refreshing this, or when all my E30 swap parts finally come in, I'll probably go over all that stuff. So that'll actually probably be the next video, because I'm only waiting on like 1 or 2 more things. But M50's out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too long. I'm really struggling finding or like realizing how much footage I have shot. If you guys have been watching the 540 series, the winter series, those videos, a lot of them are getting to be like 20 minutes, and it's because I think I don't have enough content, and then I end up doing way too much. Like right now I'm rambling, and this video is probably gonna be long, but this is an important series. Everyone's been watching it, wanting it. So sorry it took me so long to get going, guys, but we are in full swing now. So stay tuned for the next one. I will see you guys later.